You've learned to thread the needle. Now what comes next? Hey, Drex here from Drex Factor Poi, sharing with you the love of poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain. And today, I'm going to show you what comes next after you get down that initial hurdle of the thread the needle. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flow DNA, Flow Fests, Flow Toys, Juggling Calling, Pyroterra Light Toys, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all these amazing companies and the work that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. And a special thanks to the first non-business friend of the channel, Johnny Howard. Thanks so much for your support, Johnny. So I know how this goes, especially as a beginner. It takes so much time and energy and effort to get those initial poi tricks down, and it just feels like the next one is going to be another hill to climb. But you're in luck, because sometimes there are some things that you can do, variations on the tricks that you just learned how to do, that don't involve that much effort. Yes, that's right. This is what comes next. I like to think that this fills in kind of a gap in between having to move on to the next big trick that requires a whole lot of work, while also honoring the work that you have just done and learning all the things that you can do once you already have that trick under your belt. It's not quite a tutorial, it's not quite a combo, it's what comes next. And this particular video comes as a request from Matthew Gillam Lewis, who wants to learn what comes next after you learn how to do the poi thread the needle. And I actually love this request because I think that it's also important that we remember that once you learn a lot of these beginner tricks, there's still plenty of other stuff that can still go into that. This is also kind of a fun challenge for me because it's been a while since I've been in that place where the thread the needle was fresh and new for me. But you know what? I also remember some of the things that opened up for me. So I am more than happy to share them with all of you. So let's get started. So my first pick here is actually going to be really closely connected with my second pick, and also something that does pop up in a lot of early poi spinning as you're figuring out how to add beats to things, and that is the 4-beat thread the needle. So this one feels kind of wild. The best way I can describe it is essentially you're trying to create a thread the needle that works by having your arms in a crossed position rather than right next to each other. So you're trying to do this in such a way that you are doing a thread the needle with your right hand on your left side and also with your left hand on your right side. I know, it's a little bit of a brain buster. It also changes the rhythm of the thread the needle just slightly. So instead of thinking of it as a dun, 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 dun kind of motion, it's a dun da dun dun da dun dun da dun kind of motion. So kind of winds up doing triplets, which actually is great if you happen to be using it to music that also has triplets in it. It's a great way to underscore that beat. Also, if you're not ready to dive into the world of, say, like the 5-beat weave, this is a way that you can start to dip your feet into the multi-beat world with something that, quite frankly, is a lot less challenging when it comes to adding all these beats. Yeah, I'm a fan of this one. Next up, it's gonna look really, really similar to that 4-beat thread the needle, but I swear it's different, and that is a split time thread the needle. Okay, so hear me out here because I still don't entirely understand how this one works. Somehow when we switch the timing of the poi, all of a sudden those weird in-between and under reaches we have to do in order to do the 4-beat thread the needle wind up working in such a way that a split time one feels very comfortable with them. So I honestly just think this is down to a weird property of the human body in that we have bilateral symmetry across our midsection, but not across our top and our bottom. So when we are doing a thread the needle with our poi and together opposite, it means that everything we're doing is reflecting along that line of symmetry that our body already has. Whereas when we're doing things in split time, everything's reflected across an axis that is very, very different from the one that our body obeys. Which means that we perceive things differently depending upon which of these axes we happen to be working with. I know, that's a little confusing. Again, I don't entirely understand this one myself, but what I can tell you is that the split time thread the needle looks super groovy to me, and I hope it looks super groovy to you too. All right, so before I share with you my final pick for what comes next after you learn the thread the needle, I do have a request, and that is if you got this far, it probably means that you have an interest in poi tricks and learning flow arts and the like, and if that's the case, I would really love to ask you to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Not only does that help people find this video that might benefit from it, but it also helps my channel grow. And that is a thing that I would really, really appreciate. Also, if you could take a moment to go ahead and leave me a request for some other tricks that you would like to see me do a what comes next on, I would be happy to oblige. This video, as has many of my videos in this series, came directly from one of those requests. All right, and now my number one pick for what comes next after you learn the thread the needle. It would be the behind the head thread the needle. That's right, we're now extrapolating this trick back and forth behind and in front of our bodies, instead of just all the way in front. Now, admittedly, this one is a little bit of a cop-out because the kinesthetic skills to switch back and forth in front of and behind your body are not quite the same as switching which hand is on top or in front as you're doing the thread the needle in front of you. But at the same time, the visual impact of this one is just so cool. I am all about level changes, and this essentially kind of splits the difference between doing a thread the needle and a windmill. And hey, I'm a fan of both of those moves, so there's nothing to be lost by doing this one here. And that's why it is my number one pick for what comes next after you learn the thread the needle. Thank you so much for this request. This was a fun trip down memory lane. And hey, real quickly, I just want to throw out a massive thank you because this video would not be possible without the kind support of these amazing folks right here. These are my Flow patrons on Patreon, and they, along with the wonderful people listed down in the description, help to make this video and all the videos on my channel possible. Do you like Poi content? Do you like tutorials? Do you like reviews? Do you like vlogs? Do you like what comes next? Then please help me to continue making these videos. You can do so by heading on over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi. You can do that either by hitting the link down in the description or hitting that card that just popped up on YouTube. Either which way, doing so means that you can get early access to all of my content as well as a say in what content I tackle in the future, plus some great extras and behind the scenes content as well. So go check that out. Please and thank you. What were the tricks that you learned after you learned the thread the needle? Was anything that I presented on that list? I would love to know. Leave me a comment, and please leave me your requests of tricks that I can cover in future installments of what comes next. Those requests determine the content of these videos. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to a playlist of other videos just like this one down in the description, as well as up on screen if you are watching on YouTube. Please get outside and flow this weekend, and I will see you with a new video on Monday. Peace.